Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got our 5 best bets for college basketball here on Monday, January 13th, and get ready to learn SWAC because we've got a lot of SWAC basketball today and a lot of value personally that I really like in the SWAC. We're going to have a Big Ten game as well. We're going to get on to the Patriot League for another game too, but a lot of SWAC basketball today, and really Monday is kind of SWAC day, honestly. That's where the SWAC conference plays, I believe, all their weekday basketball games, and we're going to talk about a lot of them here tonight. So folks, or today, it's 9 in the morning when you're seeing this. So, folks, if you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Later today, in about an hour, we will have our NBA predictions that are also daily on the channel as well. And also, yesterday, we posted our UFC 311 Makhachev versus Sarukian 2 predictions. Also on the card, Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov for the Bantamweight Championship of the World. Huge card this week from Los Angeles, California, and the Intuit Dome for the UFC. We predicted all 14 fights yesterday on the channel. That video is linked in the description down below, so go check out that video after you're done watching this one and the NBA video in about an hour. All right. Let's get on the first of our 5 best bets for today, and we start things off again, yes, in the SWAC. It is the first game of the day today at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We will go with the Prairie View A&M Panthers and the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions, and I think there is tremendous value with the home team here in the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions. Guys, Prairie View A&M is a 2-1 team in the SWAC this season, and that's why they are the favorites in this game. This is why they're getting 5.5 points in the road. I understand that, but we have to dive deeper into Prairie View A&M's victories. There are 2 games against Grambling at home. They look great, but Grambling's 0-3 this season, and then a win on the road at Mississippi Valley State, only by 9 points against a very bad Delta Devil school that is considered one of the worst in all of college basketball this season. Their loss in the SWAC, it's a 4-point victory at home against Southern. That's not a bad loss at all. Southern looks like they are the lead dogs right now in the SWAC conference, and yes, we will get to Southern later on in the video. Prairie View A&M, despite all this, is still a 3-13 basketball team, with one of their wins being against the College of Biblical Studies. Their other 2 wins, again, we just mentioned in SWAC play. Other than that, they have not won a game, and I get it. Prairie View A&M played a very tough non-conference schedule this year, like, well, DePaul sucks, you don't have to count them, but SMU on the road. They lost to Fresno on the road. Texas A&M Corpus Christi is playing good basketball this season. They are playing today, not going to pick their game. I think they cover if you want a bonus pick, but I decided to stay away from that. They had to go to UCLA, they lost. They went to Rice and lost, to Oklahoma and lost. Right, Prairie View A&M's played some pretty good schools this year, and they are led by 2 main players, Nick Anderson and Tanaj Pettaway. Pettaway is averaging 16.5 points a game, and Nick Anderson, who has been out of action since December 22nd against their game against Rice. That's huge. And yes, they've been able to win 2 games in the SWAC without Nick Anderson, but again, this is a better team with Anderson on it. So again, it's been a lot of Tanaj Pettaway, their point guard, leading the charge in terms of scoring again with 16 a night. You also get Marcel Bryant, who's averaging 11 points a game. I'm taking Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now, I wouldn't play the money line. Personally, again, if you force me on a winner, I'd say Arkansas Pine Bluff gets it at home. But the play that I really like is plus 5.5 here for the Golden Lions. That's my favorite play of this game. Why? Because Arkansas Pine Bluff, I know they haven't been great so far in the SWAC. They're 0-2, but both their games are on the road, and they went on the road to Alabama A&M, lost the game by 10 points. They went on the road to Alabama State, only lost by 2 points against the Hornets. Their wins this season, okay, they're Central Arkansas by 6 points, and then Champion Christian University in a game that they won on November 6th. And I get it, Arkansas Pine Bluff is 3-12 this season. Their other win comes via the victory over Ecclesia. I don't know what school that is. But again, like Prairie View A&M and like a lot of teams in the SWAC, Arkansas Pine Bluff plays a lot of good teams non-conference. We're talking about Cincinnati. We're talking about Texas Tech. We're talking about Tulsa, I guess, who covered for us yesterday. We're talking about Kansas State. We're talking about Texas. Again, they played good schools non-conference. So again, yes, their record might not indicate they're all that great, but the same thing can honestly be said about Prairie View A&M. Now, Arkansas Pine Bluff is led by Christian Moore, who's averaging 12 points a game. Dante Sawyer is averaging 10 as well. And also, they get Dr. Bradley back. Dr. Bradley's a guy who's played 2 games so far this season, and he's averaging 32.5 points. The game against Alabama A&M, he drops 30 and 8. Doesn't pass the ball once, 0 assists, but Shout out to their shooting guard, Dr. Bradley, with a 30-8 game. And then the loss against Alabama State, 35-7-7. Dr. Bradley's the reason why we're picking Arkansas Pine Bluff. I believe there was a tweet, if I'm not mistaken, there was a tweet where it was a satire tweet, but there was a tweet that said Dr. Bradley was like, it just showed, a picture of his stat line and said, this dude ain't passing the ball. And I think it said he averages 32.5 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. Or no, I think it was 8 rebounds and 0 assists because of his first game, obviously the year where he didn't pass the ball once. Okay, honestly, guys, this is what Arkansas Pine Bluff needs to win. They need a guy like Dr. Bradley, who's been playing well in his back-to-back games so far this season, his first games of the year. This is what this team needs, because they have not really seen an influx in scoring prior to Dr. Bradley. Again, Christian Moore with his 12 a night, Dante Sawyer with his 10, and then you get everyone else who averages less than 8 points a night. No, now they got one guy who can go there, who can go and attack the rim in Dr. Bradley, and a guy who's just straight up going to score. This is a guy who played for New Mexico State a couple seasons ago. Now he is here at Arkansas Pine Bluff, and I think it's a great fit. Again, he's obviously been the lead scorer of this team, and ultimately, this is why we're taking Arkansas Pine Bluff to pick up the victory. Guys, in 2 games, Dr. Bradley has already scored half of the amount of points he scored in New Mexico State a couple seasons ago. So there's something. He's already made more threes as a member of the Pine Bluff Golden Lions than he did in his entire career in New Mexico State. He went 1 for 10 with the Aggies. He's 2 for 4 now with the Golden Lions. Okay, this is a guy who is gonna get to the rim. In 2 games, he has shot 30 free throws, and he's 17 for 30. It's almost unreal. But it's a real stat. Oh my God, he needs to work on his free throws. 8 for 16 against Alabama A&M and 9 for 14 against Alabama State. Okay, if Dr. Bradley can actually hit these free throws, we're going to be fine. This is why we're taking Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now, again, I get it. When he's been back in the lineup, literally everything has gone through him. Like, the entire game is, all right, we're going to get this guy the ball, and we're going to get out the way, and we're going to hope he scores. I get that. But he's been the best scorer on this team. He has. He's been the best player on this team. Goes 12 for 17 from the field in their loss against Alabama State. I don't know, man. I don't mind this. I really don't. I get it. They're 0-2 with him, but he looks like the best scorer on the court. They covered a 13.5 point line against the Hornets the other night. They get their first home game in the SWAC this season. We're going with the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions to cover the 5.5 points off of the scoring effort of Dr. Bradley. Give me the Lions. Give me the Golden Lions at home to cover the 5.5 points. If you want to take the money line, take it. I'd stay away. I like the plus 5.5 for Arkansas Pine Bluff at home, again in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Let's move on to our next game today. This is the one Big Ten game we're going to cover today because it's like stealing candy from a baby. It's what it feels like betting against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They should relocate to Montana. They're just pitiful. Maryland by 1 million. Now, okay, I'm going to stop bullying Minnesota. I think I should, because it's like, all right, eventually, again, they should probably win one. But at this point, I don't know. Who's going to win a game first? Is DePaul going to win one in the Big East, or is Minnesota going to get one in the Big Ten? Let's just be honest. Which way is it going to go? I don't know. I think at this rate, it might be DePaul. No, DePaul has gone seasons without winning. But who's Minnesota going to beat? Washington? I don't know if they beat Washington right now. I don't know. Osabor is so underwhelming. I don't know. Hey, shout out to Washington. We cashed against them yesterday with Michigan State. The Big Ten's been pretty good to us recently, so we're going to try to carry that momentum here. We're taking Maryland at home. I know it's 14.5 points, but guys, Minnesota's horrible at basketball, okay? Last road game, they go on the road to Wisconsin, they lose the game by 21 points. Ohio State game was at home, it was close, whatever. I think Ohio State's kind of fraudulent. I get it, they're now, 2-3 in the Big Ten, they're kind of frauds. Okay, Purdue. Minnesota loses to Purdue at home by 20 points. They go to Indiana, they lose by 15 points. They play Michigan State at home, they lose by 18. Maryland, just take care of business, that's all I ask. That's all I ask out of Maryland. Now, I was considering talking about the other Big Ten game today, and that is UCLA and Rutgers, but you know what? I don't feel good enough about UCLA going on the road to Rutgers and winning. I don't think they're capable of doing it. I honestly think Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey have a chance to finally win a game in the Big Ten because UCLA's been that bad. They're still ranked right now, but they're not going to be ranked, when the new rankings come out. I don't know. I think the Scarlet Knights have a legitimate chance to win that basketball game, but I'm staying away. The Big Ten game that we are focusing on today is just the dismantling of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Because, guys, Maryland, all right, I get it. They're 2-3 in the Big Ten this year. They have lost on the road at Washington, at Oregon, but hear me out. They are able to destroy anybody who comes through the doors in, it's in Annapolis, right? They play in College Park, Maryland. Is that not near Annapolis, Maryland? Is it not near Annapolis? I'm really gonna look this up right now. I am gonna look this up. I need a map of Maryland. Give me a map of Maryland. Map of Maryland. Are they not? Am I just tripping, or is Annapolis, Maryland? Oh God, how am I gonna find where the University of Maryland is right now? Wait, there's DC. Love DC. Chesapeake Beach, isn't this like the really expensive area? All right, University of Maryland. We're about a University of Maryland. Boom. Oh, it's literally right here. Is this not Annapolis, Maryland, or am I tripping? This is right next to DC. I did not know it was that close. Where is Annapolis? What is in Annapolis? Something's in Annapolis. Oh, this is Navy. Is it not? It's Navy. I'm tripping. All right, my fault. Anyways, back to this. Guys, we just need Maryland to take care of business, because when teams have gone through the doors here at College Park, the games haven't been competitive in the Big Ten and outside the Big Ten too. Guys, all right, let's list the home games that Maryland has played this season. Ohio State, 83-59, they blew them out. Okay, UCLA, 79-61, and that's kind of it actually against big-time opponents. The Syracuse game was a neutral site game, and they did beat Syracuse by 37 points, but Maryland has blown teams out when they've walked through the doors, okay? And they should do the same exact thing in Minnesota, because hear me out, UCLA might not be the best team right now. Ohio State, it is what it is with the Buckeyes. Neither of those teams are as bad as Minnesota is. Minnesota's horrible. They can't find ways to score. They just can't. They don't have an identity. They don't know who's going to show up in which night. It usually is Dawson Garcia, but sometimes it's Parker Fox. Sometimes it's Mike Mitchell. They don't know. Minnesota can't figure it out. They will never figure it out. The Golden Gophers are horrible, and Maryland is just the better basketball team. Okay, the Terrapins will be able to easily take care of business at home. We're talking about Derek Queen. We're talking about Jacoby Gillespie. We're talking about Julian Reese. We're talking about Selton Miguel. We're talking about Rodney Rice. This starting five, sure, they play a lot. They play most of the game, and when they come out the game, there's not much scoring going on, but these core five guys are good enough for the Terrapins, and they're way too good for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. 14.5 points, that is absolutely fine with me. Give me the Maryland Terrapins to blow out Minnesota. Minnesota can't hang with the Big Ten. It's the unfortunate truth, but I don't know. Maybe the Big East is accepting new teams. I don't know. Maybe they could actually win a game, because then they get to play DePaul. Or maybe the A-10 will accept Minnesota, Or hey, the Summit League, I don't think Minnesota wins the Summit League right now. I'm serious. I think St. Thomas, Minnesota might beat them. I can't hype up South Dakota State right now. Maybe NDSU would do it. I don't know. I think Minnesota, for a competitive balance, they should go to the Summit League. Yeah. Okay. We'll get back to the SWAC in a minute, but first, we're going to go to the Patriot League, as we've got Loyola, Maryland at home in Baltimore taking on American University. Guys, we're going with Loyola, Maryland in this basketball game. They're the home team. They're getting -1.5. We're getting about even money at home. That's fine with me. The Greyhounds have been all right this season in Patriot League play. They're 2-2, and they've been able just to win games at home. And every single game that the Greyhounds have played this season in the Patriot League has been very close. They open up Patriot play January 2nd. They lose to Holy Cross by 2 points. Then they beat Lee at home by 6 points. Then they go to Army. They go to West Point. They lose the game by 2 points. Same exact score, by the way, of the Holy Cross game, 74-72. Then their last game, they get Navy at home, and they beat Navy. So again, a 2-2 team in the Patriot League this season, Loyola Maryland, and now they welcome in the Eagles of American University. Now, American University, a 2-2 Patriot League team as well. They go to Navy, they lose by 23 points. They beat Holy Cross at home. They play BU, they lose by 6 points at BU, and then Bucknell comes to town, and they beat Bucknell by 10 points. Common denominators, guys. American University only wins at home, and Loyola Maryland only wins at home. Oh, who's at home in this game? The Loyola Maryland Greyhounds. That's what we like in this game. That's what we do. Now, American University, they might have some better scorers on this team. We're talking about Matt Rogers, who sometimes can explode for some points. But I think the all-around better team are the Greyhounds. We're talking about Milos Ilic, who's averaging 14 points a game and 8.5 rebounds as well. We're talking about Jordan Stimke, who's averaging 13 points and 4 rebounds a game. We're talking about Jacob Theodosu, who's averaging 13 points a game. We're talking about Braden Speed, who's averaging 9. Vichko Ilic, who's averaging 8 points a game. Like, this will play, man. I think the all-around better basketball team in this game is on the side of the home team in the Loyola Maryland Greyhounds. So again, we take all this into account in this basketball game. We get Loyola Maryland at home. Again, Patriot League home court advantage. It's not going to be like the Big Ten, but you know, we'll take it. American University's got to come all the way to Maryland to play this basketball game. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where American University is. I couldn't tell you. We're about to look this up. Hold on. American University. Okay, I needed the logo for my graphic. Hold on. Makes sense, DC. Okay, makes a lot of. How many universities are in DC? We got Georgetown, we get American University, George Washington. Okay, you know what? Makes a lot of sense. But okay, it's a 45-minute drive over. Still, hey man, home court. Oh, wrong one. Home court advantage is home court advantage. That's all I'm saying. I like Loyola Maryland at home. Again, they are the better all-around basketball team. Sure, American University might have guys like Matt Rogers, Colin Smalls, Elijah Stevens, but the all-around better basketball team is the home team in this game, and the Loyola Maryland Greyhounds. And again, we are following the trends, okay? Neither of these teams have won on the road yet in the Patriot League. Loyola Maryland is at home in this basketball game, and Loyola Maryland has been playing all-around very close games in the Patriot League this season. They have not had a game where they've lost by more than 2 points. And they get this game at home. Yeah, give me the Greyhounds. Give me Loyola Maryland and Milos Ilic at home here against the American University Eagles, like the Greyhounds in Baltimore. I think they're Baltimore, right? I believe so. Yes. Give me the Greyhounds to take care of business. -1.5, money line, whatever you want to take. Give me Loyola Maryland in this spot. All right. Let's get some value now in the SWAC. All right, this is where we're getting going now. All right, these two spots I really like. I like the next game the most tonight, and I liked our first game in the SWAC as well. Obviously, we get a home dog in Arkansas Pine Bluff, and now I like this spot a lot too. It's probably my third favorite spot today in the SWAC. It's so, again, my least favorite spot in the SWAC, but I still like it. Again, if it's in the video, I like the spot. We get the best team right now in the SWAC. It is going to be the Southern Jaguars at home against the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Okay, I think Southern covers this spot pretty easily. I do think Southern is by far the best team in the SWAC this season. I think so, okay? This is a team, and I understand that they only won 2 games non-conference this year in the SWAC. But, guys, actually 3, they beat Texas Southern. Yeah, Texas Southern's conference game. Who am I tripping? I'm tripping. Regardless, guys, 2 wins non-conference against other D1 schools. Let's just be honest with ourselves, guys, in the SWAC, that's a pretty damn big deal. It just is. Okay, going to La Tech and winning, going to Tulsa and winning. Those are bye games for both Tulsa and La Tech, and Southern goes on the road and wins. That's a big deal. This team can win basketball games, and what else has Southern been doing? They're on a 3-game winning streak now. Kicking off SWAC, play back-to-back games on the road, no problem. They go to Texas Southern, they win. They go to Prairie View A&M, they win. They return home, and they blow the doors off of Florida A&M, who I get it. Florida A&M's not playing the best basketball this season, but still, they blow the doors off them. 91-57 final in favor of the Southern Jaguars. Now Bethune-Cookman comes into town. I thought Bethune-Cookman at the beginning of the season was one of the worst teams in college basketball, I'll be honest with you. They're not as bad as, obviously, Mississippi Valley State. You know, I know they won their first conference game, but, Alcorn's not that great. Alcorn's what, 1-14? My goodness. Or they won their second conference game, but regardless. Bethune-Cookman actually isn't that bad, because this is a team actually that went to USF and won. They beat North Dakota. North Dakota, I believe, came to Bethune-Cookman, and same did SC State. But yes, I was impressed with Bethune-Cookman. They went to USF and they beat Southern Florida by 8 points. That's impressive. It just is. Since then, they lost back-to-back games on the road to Davidson and Mississippi State, but they started off SWAC play back-to-back road games against Florida A&M and Grambling, and they lost both of them. My thing is, why the hell does Bethune-Cookman have to play a 3rd straight road game in conference play? That's brutal. Now, they just went on the road to Grambling on Saturday. Now they got to go to Southern. It's been, and again, January 4th, they went on the road to Florida A&M. I mean, it's been a lot of road trips here for Bethune-Cookman. Eventually, this is going to catch up. Now, thankfully for the Wildcats, they get to regroup next Saturday at home against the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, but It's the end of a road trip, and I get it. It's not like an NBA road trip, obviously, where they're on the road the entire time, but still, this is the end of all right, we got to get back on the road here and play another road game. It's the end of that, and they're running in right now, into my opinion, the best team in the conference, and that's the Southern Jaguars. Southern, again, not going to have one guy that's just going to be like, oh, they don't have a Dr. Bradley on their team that's going to wow you, but Jordan Johnson, Michael Jacobs, I mean, these are the leaders of this team, but what Southern does is they play really good defense. They are going to shut you down on the other side of the ball, and ultimately I think it's going to make it really difficult in Bethune-Cookman to just score in general in this basketball game. On top of that, Southern's at home, so that's why the Jaguars are getting 4.5 in this spot, and I feel fine with playing it at home. 4.5. I would expect Southern to win this game by about 10, if I'm being honest with you. They went on the road, Texas Southern won by 9. Going on the road to Prairie View A&M, all right, they only won by 4, but still a win is a win. But we saw what this team was able to do when they got a home game against Florida A&M, and they won the game again by 30-something points. That's a big deal. This is their second home game all year for the Jaguars against another Division I school, because again, their other wins were against Lindsey Wilson College, Champion Christian, again, a bunch of just random NIAs and D2 schools, which is fine. But Southern, again, I do think being at home, playing the defense that they play, I think they are going to go out here and win the game. Bethune-Cookman, their leading scorer is Brayon Freeman, who's averaging 17 points a night. You get Trey Thomas, who's averaging 12.5. But again, we are trusting in the best team, personally, I believe so, in the SWAC conference this season. We are trusting in the Southern Jaguars. That's the pick here. Again, I think Southern in this basketball game, very similar to, hell, this is the SWAC's version of UCSD and UCI from the other night. That was the game where Irvine solidified themselves as the best team in the Big West. And by the way, the Big West, if everything goes the right way, the Big West could potentially get 2 teams in the tournament this year. That's how good Irvine and UCSD are this season. I think definitely Irvine will get an at-large if somehow, again, things don't go their way in the Big West tournament for the second year in a row. But I'm not saying the SWAC is going to have 2 bids, by the way. But again, this is the SWAC's version of this. These have been the best 2 teams so far in the SWAC this year, and I think, again, like Irvine solidified themselves as the best team in the Big West, I think Southern solidifies themselves as the best team in the SWAC. So give me the Southern Jaguars at home to, again, put on a very impressive performance, to make a statement in this basketball game. -4.5. Give me the Southern Jaguars at home against the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Now, I really like this play here. We get Alabama A&M on the road against Jackson State. I don't know why they're getting 9.5. Again, I really do not understand why they're getting 9.5 points on the road. It doesn't make sense to me. The line does not make sense at all. Alabama A&M goes on the road to take on Jackson State. Now, I get it. Alabama A&M just went on the road and lost by 10 to Alcorn State, who was 0-14. I get that. That doesn't look great. And Jackson State, sure, they beat Alcorn State on the road, and they, went home. They beat Alabama State. I get that. Is Alabama A&M really going to lose back-to-back games against 2 of these lower-level SWAC teams, by double digits, essentially? I really don't think so, especially an Alabama A&M team that started SWAC play this season 2-0. They beat Arkansas Pine Bluff at home. They beat Mississippi Valley State at home. And yes, they went on the road to Alcorn State and lost the game by 10 points. But it was such a pitiful performance for Alabama A&M. They had Sayu CA, who's averaging 6 points a game. He led them in scoring that night. AC Bryant did not show up. Chad Moody did not show up either. Their 2 best players did not play good basketball games in that loss to Alcorn State. I would not expect that to happen in back-to-back nights. Truly, I don't think the Bulldogs played that poorly in back-to-back games. That last game was just on Saturday. Again, 2 days later, now they go to Jackson State. For the Tigers, for JSU, again, a 2-13 basketball team. Started the year off 0-13. They beat Akron. That'd be impressive if they beat Akron. They beat Alcorn on the road. We picked Alcorn in that basketball game. Didn't go our way. Very fun basketball game. Jackson State almost blew a huge lead, but regardless, I got to watch that one on the, what's the network called? Is it the HBCU something, I believe? But I don't entirely remember what the network is that I watched that game on. I found it on Twitter, though. I found it off of Alcorn's links, and I found my way watching the SWAC last Saturday. We're going to be watching the SWAC a lot tonight. Yes, the Rams are on, too. We like Rams money line. Just saying. We like Rams money line. Don't care the game's in Arizona. Lights are too bright for Sam Darnold. We're going with the Rams. I just want to see Rams Lions NFC Championship game, personally. But no, I like the Rams at the beginning of the week, and we need to fire Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay. That's all I'm going to say. Just get him out. Get him out. Call Marcus Freeman. You want to coach the NFL? You want to come to Tampa? Anyways, yeah, Jackson State 2-13 this season. Back-to-back wins over Alcorn and Alabama State. That's great. They have not won a game though by more than 10 points all year long. Honestly, when's the last time Jackson State has ever won a game by more than 10 points? I don't know last time that was. February 17th of last year, their victory over Florida A&M. Again, what are the odds that Jackson State finally wins one by over 10? What are the odds they win this basketball game? Again, I would expect Jackson State to get it. They're minus 500 favorites, sure, but are they really going to put a beat down on Alabama A&M like that? I really don't think so. I was shocked when I saw this line, and I get it. Alabama A&M just lost by a lot to Alcorn State. Again, it was 10 points. I don't think history is going to repeat itself twice. This is the last game we're picking on the night. It's a 5 p.m. spot here for Jackson State and Alabama A&M. Jackson State led by Jamie Mitchell Jr. is averaging 11 points a game. They get Deshaun Ruffian's then back as well, as averaging 13. He is their 5'11 guard who leads them in scoring. Dorian McMillan averages 11 as well. But yes, again, the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, I do think are able to go on the road. I think they're able to keep this game close. Are they able to win it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Jackson State probably gets it because the game, again, is in Jackson, Mississippi. I think they're Mississippi, right? No, they're in Georgia, are they? Wait, no. No, Jackson State's in... They're Mississippi. They're Mississippi. Mississippi. Yeah, I like Alabama A&M to go on the road here. Cover 9.5 points. Again, Jackson State has not beat a team by more than 10 in about a year. Seriously, in about a year. So, yeah, I think Alabama A&M keeps this game close. Don't think they win it. I'd stay away, but plus 9.5, really like that. I don't think Alabama A&M loses back-to-back games against poor teams by more than 10, because I do think the Bulldogs are on the upper half of the SWAC this season. So, give me Alabama A&M in the spot here against the Jackson State Tigers, plus 9.5. So, folks, thank you all for watching our 5 best bets for college basketball here on Monday, January 13th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank you all for watching, and Mamba forever.